Hey, this is episode 6 of Freedom from Ego, and we're going to be talking about how manipulations can slow our process to gain freedom from the ego. Hey, so in this episode, we're going to be, as I've mentioned in the intro, we're going to be talking about how manipulations can ruin us and how it can slow our process in gaining freedom from the ego. And so, what, why is manipulation so dangerous? Well, manipulations are dangerous because it's a move to make you think that the world is somehow like it's not. It's basically twisting our worldview to get us to do something, twisting our worldview to make us comply, twisting our worldview to make us do something that we wouldn't otherwise do. How common are manipulations? Well, the act of manipulation is more common than we think. Basically, our relatives around us, they all have a vested interest in keeping us deluded. They all have a interest in keeping us under control so that we comply to the rules of the society. Institutions do this. Everyone around us does this. And so, when we are in the process of gaining freedom from the ego, we need complete thought freedom. Thought freedom because on our, we don't need a cap on our thoughts. When our thoughts are capped, we are basically limiting the amount of possible ideas that our mind can generate, possible avenues our mind could go into. And so we need to be very, very careful with these manipulations, these twisted worldviews that make us do things that we wouldn't naturally do, twisted worldviews that are put in place by our siblings, by our parents, by our lovers, by our people that we study from, the people that we buy the meat from, the people that we buy our groceries from. It's basically something which is more common around us the more you look at it. What is the structure of manipulation? Manipulation consists of an action or a word that makes you feel something, that makes you do something that you don't want to do. How do manipulators attack us? Well, whenever we are in a situation when we meet someone new, most of the time we have our guard up. We don't trust them. We don't believe everything that they're saying. And so the act of manipulation is basically making you feel like something is the way it's actually not. And so the manipulator will try to make you think and feel a certain way to get an action out of you. And so this act of manipulation doesn't just occur by strangers. It occurs, the more advanced form of manipulation happens when we are in a relationship, when we are in a friendship, when we are in a relationship with someone where we have our guard down, where we trust that whatever they are saying is actual reality. And so the act of manipulation basically is a false causality between two things. When you do something and the action is something which is not real. It's basically a manufactured outcome. And so we need to be very careful with people when we are putting our guard down, when we are deciding that, oh, I can trust these people. I can put my guard down. I can believe that whatever they're saying doesn't have an agenda behind it or doesn't have anything behind it which is going to hurt me. How do we understand that we are being manipulated? Well, this is a very tricky topic. How do we understand that our minds are being played with? Being played with implies the fact that your mind is deluded, that your mind is not working up to 100%, that the mind has a twisted worldview. But no matter how twisted the worldview gets, there's something inside, and that is something that does not lie. And that thing is the language of feelings. So there's something which no matter how diluted our worldview gets, always speaks truth to us. And that truth will always be felt by you whenever you're in a situation. And that thing is called the language of feelings. So, what is the language of feelings? Well, basically, try to understand it this way. Whenever you're in a situation, there is something which is an emotion and something which you feel, okay, which could be a physiological reaction or something inside. Imagine that you're having a lot of fun, but you still feel you feel not nice. You feel a little guilty. You feel a little depressed. You feel like you're slowly not feeling as fulfilled. That is the language of feeling. Maybe you're in a job and you're earning great amounts of money and you still feel something which is not, fulfilling you. The language of feeling is not saying things which is not giving you the green light. The language of feelings may make you feel a little bad whenever you're with someone, you're interacting with someone. You feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I am not respected. I just feel like this is not right. I just feel disconnected. I just feel like not doing it. That is not emotions. Those are the language of feelings, and you need to associate every single feeling with a word. So if a feeling is really joyous, then you can give that. If you feel uplifted or you feel really satisfied, you can associate that feeling with some word, which is that I enjoy doing these activities. Whenever I feel this, genuinely enjoy the situation. Whenever you're with someone and you feel like, I feel, I don't know, I just feel like disconnected. If you feel that feeling again, chances are that your feeling is trying to tell you that whenever you do this action with these people, you're not feeling fulfilled because you feel disrespected. And so you need to associate every feeling with a word or potentially an action. Do this or don't do this. I like this or don't like this. And that is going to help you to understand in future whenever you feel something really bad, whenever you feel something which is really good, something really fulfilling, you have some context to understand that feeling. But that only comes with experience. So the act of manipulation basically takes away our freedom. And so, whenever we are feeling a certain way with the manipulator, you need to keep that feeling in mind. And when you have that feeling in mind, do this. So, when you disconnect from the manipulator, when you take some distance, when you take some time off, when you go abroad or you go travel, or if you don't have those resources, you basically stop texting them, stop talking to them for a while. And whenever you completely disconnect, when that emotion is far behind you, when that emotion can be observed objectively, that's when I want you to look back at that feeling that you had when you were talking to that manipulator. When you're talking to that manipulator and you are disconnected, what you can actually feel is if you are feeling good or you are feeling bad. If you're feeling a lot happier, a lot more fulfilled, a lot more satisfied without being in the vicinity of that person, not feeling, not having emotions of or cravings of meeting that person, but actually feeling that associated word with it, um, satisfied or unsatisfied. Try to understand if you're feeling satisfied or unsatisfied internally, like in terms of your happiness when you're disconnected with that person. If chances are that you feel a little deluded when you're with that person, or you feel a little depressed, or you feel like this person has been pushing you this way or that way, chances are that that person is a manipulator. And so, as you feel without any judgment, as you feel without any sort of fear of outcome, I want you to identify the situations where you are manipulated. And so, whenever we associate a feeling with a word, happy, sad, bad, good, I want you to basically go back to the times you spent with that manipulator. Go back to the times when you felt really bad or when you felt really good. Chances are that 99% of the time, it's not going to be all bad. But the 1 or 2% that they do their manipulation, that they do acts to control you, to take away your freedom, to take away your consciousness, that is when I want you to associate that feeling. Okay? And so as you identify situations where you felt that bad feeling, when your feelings were telling you that something bad is happening, that you don't like being in the situation, I want you to understand what the manipulator says to you to make you feel that way. And that is the process of understanding your trigger. Understanding your trigger will basically give you a lot more consciousness whenever another situation arises where you react a certain way. So the act of a trigger can be that you're enjoying your conversation with this person, you're having a lot of fun with this person, and then suddenly you're talking about, for example, going on a motorcycle adventure with your friend, and this manipulator basically tells you that, oh, I know someone else who went on a bigger bike, went on a different country, went on a larger tour, spent more money, and had a lot more fun, and now he is doing something really good and really great, running a tour company, whatever. And in that moment, you're obviously enjoying the conversation overall, but in that moment, you're not even conscious, but you're feeling something really bad inside. You're feeling something which is not really good. And at that moment, when your feelings are telling you that something bad is happening, the act of manipulation is happening because your body can feel it. The act of manipulation happens whenever the person does some action to control you. Okay, so you need to identify the trigger in the situation, the types of sentences that are said to control you, the types of words that are used to control you, the body language that is used to control you. I want you to understand patterns. I want you to identify patterns. I want you to go back and look at the times when you've had similar conversations and the similar words were used to control you. So, whenever we are being manipulated, we are given a very strong dose of an emotion. And that strong dose of an emotion basically ends up controlling us. And so, in identifying the trigger, in identifying the types of words that basically control you, you will end up understanding that, oh, so comparison for me personally, don't manipulate me, please, but comparison for me is something which controls me. And so I was with a manipulator who used to use this technique. Wherever I would mention something, they would mention uh, someone else who did something greater than me. And I felt really bad. Um, I felt like running away internally, but my emotions were telling me that, oh, this person is cooler than you, and you're someone who is a lowly person, and you need to basically chase this person really badly. And so I identified my trigger as being something which is comparison. And when I identified that, I used to take that lesson that, okay, my trigger is whenever someone compares me to someone else, I get manipulated, I get basically in control of someone else. And so whenever a new situation comes where someone else is trying to compare me to someone else to control me, I am conscious, and the manipulation doesn't affect me anymore. And so that is the sort of thing that I want you to identify. Identify your trigger, and your trigger will basically help you become more conscious. So I hope that this episode basically helped you to understand your language of feelings. We're gonna have a separate episode just for that, but I wanted you to basically understand manipulation, how it works, how it uh, reduces your consciousness, and being connected to our feelings and being accepting of our feelings basically helps us to gain more freedom and freedom more quickly. And so, identifying your trigger helps you, and doing all these things that I mentioned in this video will basically help you to gain freedom from the ego quicker if you implement these ideas. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.